Good morning and welcome to your, what is it? Sunday? I think it's Sunday. Oi, holidays throw everything off, don't they? Early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And I'm going to weave in a little something that I'm also, I don't know, we'll see what happens. If it comes out well on here, I may just leave that be, and if not, I may do a separate post, not under the Early Morning Intuitive Guidance cover, but good morning to the two of you who are here. Oh, there we go, Nancy. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, good morning. And today I can't blame Facebook for being late. It was just I didn't feel like getting up, so there we go. And we are supposed to get some, I believe they're calling it now, wintry mix. Wintry mix. Doesn't that sound lovely? Good morning, Ruth Ann. Glad you are here. Neither one of you probably deal much with wintry mix. Beth, on the other hand, good morning, certainly deals with wintry mix. So, yeah, it was supposed to start at 9 p.m. tonight and go into Monday. And good morning, Jo Neal. Welcome, welcome. And now it is going to be starting at 2 p.m. Good morning, Carolyn. So your little snowflake in there is absolutely spot on. Spot on. And that's going to lead to what I want to say first, and then we'll go into our card. Our card is from the Earth Magic deck by Stephen T. Farmer. And when I pulled it, I thought, really? Because I linked joy with this particular card. And that is a huge piece of this card, but there's also the prelude to joy, which can oftentimes be stepping back from the bullshit. So, had a little bit of bullshit yesterday. Good morning, Barb. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. And I just want to talk about it because I think it leads into our card beautifully, and it also is a call to action in a way. Excuse the frog. It seems to be settling in my throat and chest right now. All this fun stuff. Yes, and it's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty. So the gist of my rant for today is, I think, well, let me just tell you what the incident in question was, and then we'll travel from there. Good morning, Diane. Glad you're here. Welcome. Excuse me. So, I was sent a Facebook post that showed an accident on the Mackinac Bridge. Entirely possible, right? I mean, it's winter, it's the Mackinac Bridge, 5 miles long. It was windy as hell yesterday. Wind on the bridge is not a good thing. At one point, it actually swept a young woman in a Yugo over the side to her death. So they oftentimes will close the bridge if it gets really windy, or they will escort. I mean, if you're driving a semi-truck with nothing in the back end, you're like ripe for tipping over. So anyway, it was an image of an accident, and I'm like, oh shit, this sucks. Sent it to a couple of my Youper friends because it's their neck of the woods, right? And I was also concerned about my friend Marlo, who I believe had been downstate visiting her family and might have been coming back. This morning, I get up and Marlo has sent me a message saying it was AI generated. And actually the bridge had been closed for a while because there was someone threatening to jump. But there wasn't an accident. And I just sat here for a bit thinking, going, trying to understand, again, why would someone want to post something like this? What's the point? All it's going to do is upset people, etc., etc. But then a piece dawned on me. And I remember reading this from, or maybe I heard it when I was participating in a Tony Robbins event, and they were demonstrating for us, this was quite a couple of years ago, what AI could do. And the gist of what they demonstrated for us, live and personal, was this man saying a bunch of garbage, doing a few little tweaks on the computer, and suddenly it was Tony Robbins' voice, etc., saying the garbage that this man had just said. And I'm like, ooh, this is going. So here's what I'm thinking, folks. Oh, and we've got my favorite number 8 of people on here. And by the end of the day, there will be, I had a video the other day that had like 330 views. Yay. Awesome, awesome. Because I feel like a voice of reason needs to be heard with some of this stuff, okay? So my voice of reason on this is one of the reasons some people, not everybody, but some people muck around with the AI-generated stuff is to keep people off kilter. To keep people, and Barb, I hear you. But I've seen some of the amazing things that AI can do too. What I don't like is the lack of regulation on AI. They should not have turned this thing loose until they had the guardrails up. So, and you can't put it back in Pandora's box. You can't. So we'll see what happens with it. But what I think as humans we need to do is question everything. How unfortunate, right? But it's, to me, I'm going to view it as merely an extension of what we're guided to do with all of the scam stuff that goes on, right? You get the phone call, Grandma, I'm in jail in Puerto Rico. Call the kid. Call the kid. No, I'm still at home. Yeah. Don't buy any of it. What's hard about that, though, is when there's pressured situations, we have to evaluate what's right in front of our eyes and make decisions based on that. That's going to get more difficult, I think, as we begin to doubt what we see because of what AI, the misusers of AI, good morning, Maureen, glad you're here, have put up, right? Oh, I'm going to drag this in also. I'm going to pull in all these disparate pieces, and I'll get to our card in a minute. I started reading a new book, another Matt Haig book, H-A-I-G. Yes, it's like all the scam emails. And for people who haven't been steeped in a lot of this stuff for the course of their lifetime, i.e. older people, it's way too easy for them to get sucked down the scam drain. You know, billions of dollars of scams taking advantage of older people. So again, with that, and we've tried with my dad, repeating over and over, don't fall for anything. He did get the call, Grandpa, I'm in jail in Mexico. Can you bail me out? Well, he only has 2 grandsons, one of whom at the time was like 13, and the other one lived on the West Coast. And he looked at me and he said, I don't think Logan is in jail in Mexico. And I said, no, hang up on them. So then, just to be sure, we called Logan to make sure. And yes, Logan was fine. Oi. So, the book I'm reading, Matt Haig, it's something along the lines of Notes on an Anxious World or Coping with an Anxious World. And he's talking about all this stuff. And wrote the book shortly after he had just had his 11th major panic. I'm not even going to call it a panic attack because it wasn't a time-limited thing. It was waves of panic over the course of days. So what he did and what I'm going to advocate for here is he took a break. He took a break from his phone. He took a break from all social media. He put up away notices. I mean, this man is a writer and a journalist. I mean, you got to be on your phone, right? Nope. He took a break. And within a week, his whole nervous system ratcheted down. I had a client at one point who was an older man, and this was when I was still doing psychotherapy, and he was wired. And I also worked with his wife, and she was like, he is just around the bend. I can't even deal with him. I just don't even want to be there. And so the basic gist of it was, I said, what do you watch for the news? Fox News all day long. So I said, here's your prescription. 1 week, no Fox News. And by the time he came in the next week, he was way more settled down. Now, the main complaint that I'll hear from people when I recommend this is, how am I going to know what's going on? My answer is, why must you know? For that particular week, why must you know what's going on? Especially with regard to things about which you can do nothing. Nothing. It serves you not at all for that particular week to have to know all of what's going on that makes you feel more impotent and you can't do anything about. Where's the logic in that? Where's the reason in that, right? So, now let's go to our lovely card from Earth Magic, Stephen D. Farmer. And again, when I got this card, I'm like, this one? Why this one? It'll become apparent. Whale. Breach. Look at that beautiful creature. Let's hear what it has to say about this. This powerful creature of the ocean takes a few great sweeps with its tail and propels itself briefly out of the waters where he spends the majority of his life. He's taking a break from the ordinary earth element in which he lives to exist even for a few moments in the realm of blue skies and sun, having broken through the skin of the ocean in a magnificent display of fullness and strength. All baleen whales breach, but none more spectacularly than the humpbacks. Considered the acrobats of this family, they arch, stretch, and twist their bodies even as they approach the surface of the water in what may be an ancient mating ritual, a form of communication, or even a way to remove parasites. There, that's practical, isn't it? Love that. In this image, the humpback whale that has burst out of the ocean expresses an almost palpable feeling of release and joy. Often when we manage to change our environment, to break through illusory blockages, we experience an intense feeling of relief and can let go of any previously held fears and assumptions of what would happen once we did overcome that barrier. Whether it's material, emotional, or mental, simply getting away from the trance of technology for a few hours and spending that time in nature is a breach from the trappings of civilization that can suffocate us and prevent us from connecting to Earth. And not just suffocate us, but delude us, take us down paths that have nothing to do with reality, right? If we look at a lot of what current paranoia is about, some of it isn't real. Some of it isn't real. So, now this is the part where it's talking directly to us. It is time to take a break. Not just a coffee break, but a respite from the usual environment you find yourself in. That trip you wanted to take, go for it. Tired of being indoors? Make it a point to get outside. You've become so attached to your surroundings that you have created within them an illusion of safety. Yet it is not these things that make you feel safe. Rather, the familiarity you have imbued in your surroundings have generated this false sense of security. Taking time away from the familiar is literally about changing your external environment in a significant way. Such as doing something unusual or perhaps something you have always wanted to experience. Another perspective is breaking through the barrier of beliefs that have constricted you in any way from being who you truly are. This is your opportunity to do some intentional breaching of those thought patterns, which will open you to different worlds and perspectives. So think about this. Different world, different perspective. What would you like the perspective and your perspective to be? I think a lot of people are counting on 2026 to be a breakthrough year. That absolutely can be the case. And the more of us that believe that it will be, the more likely it is to be. But also, think about it in terms of yourself. What are the things you want to break through? What fears do you want to cast to the side? The less fear-based we are, the better. And sometimes it's very hard to not slide into the fear when the bullshit that's going on is going on. So if stepping away from that, yes, the important things filter through to me. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. I have done this periods of time, especially when I had little kids. There was so much going on that it was just overwhelming. So I would take a break. Well, if there was something I needed to know, usually a client would come in and say, did you see blah, blah, blah? And then I'd know. And I figured the rest of the stuff that I didn't hear about wasn't stuff I needed to know. So, how will you unplug? How will you unplug? And how will you address the things that churn toward you, even when you're unplugged? I mean, stuff still comes up. Did you hear blah, blah, blah? How will you determine what truly is real and what is, and sometimes we don't even think to ask. I mean, certainly there are images on Facebook, like the raccoons jumping on the trampoline, where I'm going, yeah, that isn't real. Or at least question it. A crash on the bridge, to me that made total sense. I didn't even question it. So we may be moving into the point, yes, beautiful. I've stopped scrolling on my phone and started reading more spiritual, uplifting books. Yes. Let's go back to books. There's so much wisdom and knowledge between those pages. Let's go back to that. When do you find yourself doom scrolling? Usually it's when you're tired, or you've just finished doing something, so you're rewarding yourself with some time scrolling. It's kind of a variation of what used to happen with the TV, right? I'm just going to watch this one show. You watch your half-hour show, then you watch the commercials, then you watch the next half-hour show, then you watch those commercials. Pretty soon 3 hours is gone, and you're like, crap, I was just going to watch that half-hour show. So we must be aware. We must be conscious. We must be fully present to what we're doing, the choices we're making. Make those choices conscious. Okay? All right. So I do feel like I think I hit this well enough that I don't need to do a separate post. But really, I wanted to make sure that we're all in a place of understanding that it's time to question stuff. It's time to question stuff. And it's time to wean ourselves off of stuff, off of all of the electronic stuff. And it's time to speak up about the stuff that we feel needs to happen, like some guardrails on AI. So, fabulous. Thank you for the recommendation. We'll check them out. So, I hope you all have a good Sunday. I know many of us are in the path of the storm that's coming. Wintry mix. What a euphemism, right? So, hold tight. I hope you have food in the house and warmth, and we'll ride it out and see how we come out the other time. Yes, discernment. And a piece of discernment is knowing when we've been disoriented. And I'm going to say I think there are many people out there who attempt to disorient us on purpose. If they hit us with the fire hose of information, disinformation, misinformation, sometimes we throw our hands up and just cave in. Not happening. We can discern. We can turn off the fire hose. We don't have to take in all of this crap. So, on that note, have an awesome Sunday. Take some contemplative time. Just be. If it is stormy out, sit and watch out the window. Watch the storminess. How apropos is that, right? We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.